Hey, it is time for my favorite kind of video. I am going to be tier ranking all of the games that I played in 2024. And I played a lot of games. They are a mixture of cozy games, RPGs, and narrative games, plus some other random ones. And every game on this list is a game that I played for a significant chunk of time, and many of them I also completed. Here's my tier list. I think you probably know how tier lists work. Basically, if the game's on top, S tier, I loved it. And if a game is on the bottom at D tier, it means I really did not like it. And then there's some tiers in the middle for games I feel middling feelings about. Let's start with the first game, Tamagotchi Connection Corner Shop. This is a really chill, casual game where it's just a series of mini games and it's all Tamagotchi themed. Now, I do have a lot of nostalgia for Tamagotchi. It's what made me want to try this game out. I played it on 3DS, so this is an older game and it is the first of its series. I believe there's 3 Corner Shop games. And there's a bunch of mini games, like there's one where you get to arrange flowers. There's one where you get to make jewelry. There's like a music one, I believe. There's one where you do your laundry. I actually really loved the laundry one. I really liked this game as like a really relaxing warm up, warm down kind of game, if that makes sense. Like I liked starting my gaming sessions this way, playing this game, and then moving on to something like a little more brain heavy. So yeah, I really liked it for what it is, but it is a very casual game and I loved some of the mini games. But I also remember not vibing with all of them. Like I believe the jewelry making one kind of got on my nerves sometimes. So I will say this game is probably a solid B tier game. Like I liked it for sure. I definitely didn't dislike it, which is why I would say it wouldn't go in C, but it definitely doesn't deserve to go in A just because I feel like it doesn't really have enough meat to it. But I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something really casual, really brain off to play. It's a really cute, fun game, and it's also really fun to play on 3DS and use your stylus and whatnot. You know, I feel very nostalgic for games that I get to use a stylus for because, I don't know, like, I guess I just connect that with like being a kid and being on my DS and like drawing pictures and stuff. The next game I'm going to evaluate is Coral Island. Now, Coral Island is a game that I'd purchased quite a while ago, like way before 2024, I believe. Like, I think I might have bought it when it was still in early access, but I knew that I wanted to wait to play it till it kind of had more content. So I waited till the 1.0 release to really dig into it. I had really high hopes for this game, and it just didn't quite stick for me, but I'm not putting it away forever just yet. I think I played it for about 10-12 hours, and I feel like at that point, if the game's not pulling me in, then I'm gonna drop it and play something else, which is exactly what I did. But I did really enjoy, like, I enjoyed those hours. I found it really relaxing. Actually, I remember I used to keep falling asleep while playing this game. I think I was just like in a tiring part of my life, and every time I played this game, I would just fall asleep without fail, and that's not to diss the game. I think it's very chill. I loved the island vibes. It felt like I was on vacation. I loved talking to all the characters. I do feel like there was a lot of characters, so in a way it did feel slightly overwhelming, which maybe wasn't the vibe for what I wanted at the time. So yeah, Coral Island. How should we rank Coral Island? I don't think this is not a final ranking of this game because, like I said, I want to get back to it and give the Coral Island another chance maybe later this year. Like, I am not done with Coral Island yet, y'all. I really want to play this game through to the end because I feel like I would love it if I was in the right mood for it. But for now, when it comes to my experience playing it last year, I hate it, but I feel like I have to put it in B. However, I would put it before Tamagotchi Connection. I think there's definitely more going on, and I feel like Coral Island is a game that could become an A tier for me. It just hasn't done that yet. If you play Coral Island, let me know what your experience was. Like, I don't know. Like, I really enjoyed the game, but I think there were just a few little things that were bugging me when I started off playing, like with the limited inventory and stuff, which I know a lot of farming games do have those limitations, but I've also played farming games that don't have those inventory limitations. Wildflowers, hello. So I feel like I just wasn't like quite in the right headspace for it at the time. Next, let's talk about Cat Cafe Manager. So Cat Cafe Manager was a unexpected hit in this household for me. I started playing this game, I think, after I finished one game and I was waiting like to get into another big one, and I wanted something small to play in between. And I knew this game wouldn't take too long for me to finish. I think it took me like around 15 hours tops to play through. till I felt done with it. I didn't do like every single achievement, but I did play through the main story. And I really enjoyed my time with this game. The thing I would do is I would play this game and then like put on like the Vampire Diaries or like podcasts on in the background, and it was just a very relaxing way to play. This game doesn't require too much of your attention, so I feel like it's a nice balance of being very slightly challenging, but honestly like quite easy in a good way, right? So if you're looking for like a really challenging diner dashy type of game, I would say this is not that. But this is a really nice, chill, diner dashy type game with also like the management aspects, like you're managing your cat cafe, and also you get to collect all these cute cats, which I found it really satisfying to just see the different types of cats that were available in this game. Like now you can see there's a robot cat, like there's so many cute cats in this game. I also appreciated that Cat Cafe Manager, like the characters were just kind of like quirky and fun. Like I wouldn't say they're very deep. They don't really stick with me, but they added some flavor to the game, and the story arc as well added a little something to the game that I think helped pull me through to the end. So I think Cat Cafe Manager, God, like we're in a pattern right now, but I feel like Cat Cafe Manager is also a B, but I would say based on my experience last year, it beats out the other B games right now. Because Cat Cafe Manager, I finished through to the end, unlike Royal Island, and like I really enjoyed my time with it. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was short and sweet and perfect, and it also like kickstarted my kind of desire to play more restaurant management type games or diner dash type games, you know? Like right after I finished this game, I think I bought Toho Mistia's Izakaya, which I have yet to play, but I think it just like made me realize that I would really enjoy playing more games like that. If you have any other recommendations for games like that, let me know. I am considering Cuisinier, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to play it or not. Next, I want to talk about a game that I adore, Little Known Galaxy. So this game, if you watched my previous video, that was like me reflecting on 2024, I said this game was something that exceeded my expectations because it just wasn't something I expected to love as much as I did. It's basically like, you know, typical farming sim, but in space and like sci-fi themed. And I've just never played a farming sim that I feel like takes a theme and runs with it just so well. And this makes me want to try Roots of Pacha too, which I know is like a totally different theme. It's like prehistoric, but I just feel like after playing Little Known Galaxy, I'm like, wow, like this was just such a great execution of like take a typical farming sim, but then I don't want to say reskin because that makes it sound too simple, but you know, reskin it in a sci-fi way and then like add onto it and change up the mechanics to reflect the setting. So for example, in this game you can see like the farms, you have like little robots that help you take care of your farm, which is cute. You can collect little aliens, like hatch little aliens from eggs, which is adorable. And you get to explore all these different planets. There's combat and there's romance. This is one of the rare games that had romance, but I didn't pursue romance. Like I love romance in games, so usually I always pursue it. I did go on some dates, but I will say the characters adorable, enjoyed them, but they are a little bit shallow, and that's totally fine. I still enjoy the characters for what they were. I thought they were very adorable. Definitely like on par with Stardew Valley characters, I felt, but I don't feel like Stardew Valley characters are that deep either. Don't come for me. I don't feel like Stardew Valley's NPCs are that compelling to me. That's not the draw of that game for me. And same with Little Known Galaxy. I feel like the draw isn't necessarily the NPCs, but it's just the overall vibe. Like the pixel art is so cute. I love the way everything looks. I love that you're living on a ship and you're moving through different levels of the ship, and that's like your hub world. And I also, I said the characters are pretty shallow, but I will say this game has like some fun, quirky dialogue. Like I enjoyed talking to the CPU every day, like your ship system. I thought they were adorable. I also liked the little plant aliens and meeting the other kinds of aliens that existed in this world. So yeah, you can probably tell I really loved Little Known Galaxy. And honestly y'all, I think that has to be an S tier. I was debating like maybe it's A, but I feel like it deserves S. Like I played it for almost 90 hours and it's a farming sim that I fell in love with, and I feel like it had been a while. When I played Little Known Galaxy, it had been a while since I had fallen in love with a farming sim in that way. So it kind of reignited that passion in me for farming sim. Now for something a little less cozy, but very comfy and nostalgic for me, I played Sonic Frontiers last year. I did not finish it, but I think I played a significant enough chunk that I can talk about it. I finished the first world and played through some of the second world. I think there's like a couple of different worlds that you traverse in the whole game. And Yeah, I am biased because I have a lot of nostalgia for the Sonic series. Sonic Heroes and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle were two games I was obsessed with as a kid. Sonic Riders. I mean, there's just so many Sonic games that I loved as a kid. And I think this game just reminded me how much I loved Sonic 06 when that game came out. I think that was on PS3. And I remember that game was like the first Sonic game that had kind of like a open world. It wasn't like full open world. It was like these hubs that you move through, if I remember correctly. But it was still really mind-blowing at the time. And then now to play Sonic Frontiers, which is like a fully open world game that is also technically zones, right? Because you have to travel between the different, are they planets? I don't know. There's different areas you travel through, but the maps are really big, and I do feel like it's fun to traverse as Sonic. You know, I feel like the main draw of this game for me is really just the music and the boss fights. Like, I feel like are really fun. Like, you can see right now on screen, like the boss fights are really epic, and there's like lots of different mini bosses you can play against too. And yeah, it does feel kind of cool to just like zip around and beat things up, you know? I don't know how I feel about the story or the characters. Like, so far I'm kind of like, all right, this iteration of Amy is kind of boring, but that's fine. I feel like Amy is one of those characters that depending on how she's done, I either love her or I like really get annoyed by her. I love Amy in Sonic Boom, the TV show. I think she's great there, but like in games sometimes I feel like they give her like a really flat personality, which is not her fault. But yeah, the story, I have no idea. I don't remember what's going on. It's like, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not playing this game for the story. So for Sonic Frontiers, from what I played so far, which is probably going to represent how I'll feel for the rest of the game, honestly, because I played it for like over 10 hours. I'm going to say, I think it's going to be B, but what I'm wondering is, I feel like I have to put it before Coral Island because I did enjoy my time with it more than my time with Coral Island last year. But it definitely doesn't beat out Cat Cafe Manager. I don't think it belongs in A tier. Like, I liked it, but I don't think it's great. And I certainly don't think it's S tier. I guess I should say, like, B is in the middle, but I don't feel like it's necessarily a neutral category. For me, it's like, I liked it. Like, I liked it. It's alright, it's good. A is like, it's great. S means it's mind-bogglingly amazing, and then C is like, I'm not sure if I liked it, and D is, you know, we have real beef. Yeah, sorry if I didn't explain that clearly before. I just, whatever. You get it, you get it. Next we have Immortal Life. This is a game that I feel like I wish was talked about more, considering that it is a farming game, and farming games are very popular with cozy gamers. I wish I heard about it more amongst cozy gamers. I feel like it kind of, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the marketing of it, but it just feels like it didn't really quite break through to a larger audience. And I feel like that's a shame because I really enjoyed my time with this game. I think I played it for like at least 50 hours. I really, really loved it. I didn't play through to the end of the story per se, but I felt like I was kind of done with it at the time, so I put it down. I might go back one day. But yeah, as you can see, like, the cooking in this game I think is one of the standout mechanics. I feel like cooking is fun and it's more involved. You actually have to do the different steps in the kitchen and like walk around the kitchen to like make your meals. So there's a good incentive to grow crops so you can cook. I really like the art style in this game. I think it's just very soft and very pretty, and like the setting's different. The characters are, again, not like mind-blowingly deep, but I think they're fairly well, like they're okay. I don't think the characters were the standout in this game for me. I was really more focused on the farming in this game, which I actually really enjoyed. You could use magic in this game to do stuff to your crops, which I found really satisfying. Like, that progression of being able to manage your crops easier over time was really satisfying. And I also just really loved the music as well in this game. I just found the overall vibe of the game very relaxing and different from what I'm used to in farming sims, considering this game is, I believe, Chinese and based on, like, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but like wuxia stories. I just found that really cool because I hadn't played a game like that before. I also thought this game was interesting that they didn't choose to add romance, and I'm pretty sure they haven't added it since I played. It's more focused on developing your relationships with other people in your sect, and those are platonic relationships, which is cool. Honestly, I want more games to just explore relationship mechanics that are platonic and give them the same weight and the same care that they deserve. Just the same as with romantic relationships, because friendship is cool and awesome, and I feel like romance relationships kind of, or romantic relationships kind of lend themselves to certain game mechanics that we see recurring all the time. More games should focus on friendships and not just romantic relationships, and I think I appreciate that Immortal Life does that, and I think that it's cool that they took a stand and did that, even though a lot of people, I think, were asking for romance. But even though I love romance, I think what I love more than romance is just social sim mechanics in general and just relationship mechanics. So I'm gonna put Immortal Life I'm gonna put it in A, because I think I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Little Known Galaxy, but I did enjoy it a lot, and it's definitely a high A. Next, I want to talk about Pentiment. It is a narrative adventure game where you're back in medieval times and you're trying to solve this mystery about what's going on. The setting, the art, the music, the typography, like everything is just done so well and with so much intention. I think the characters are really well written and really compelling, and you get to choose what kind of character you play as, so your character could be different from mine in terms of personality, and that affects how people react to you and how you get treated. You also get to make choices through dialogue. It's just a really, really wonderful game, super compelling. I played this kind of just under a spell. Like, all I could do was live and breathe this game for a few days until I finished it. And I did finish it in completion, one solid playthrough, and I can't recommend it enough if you're looking for like a really, really good, well-written narrative game to play. So of course Pentiment has to go high. However, I am wondering if it needs to be a high A or if it should go in S. You know what? It definitely should go in S. The only reason why I was wondering like maybe it should go in A is I remember like after finishing the game and after the ending, I felt a tiny bit like unsatisfied, like a tiny bit like I was expecting a little more of a punch from the ending than I got. But I also read from other people's experiences that for some people it hit them more, and I think it really just depends on what your life experiences are. But I mean, I enjoyed the whole journey all the way through. I think the ending just like fell a tiniest bit flat for me, just the tiniest bit. So yeah, it still deserves S, but I guess it's like not going above Little Known Galaxy. Next we have Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. For some context, this game, classic farming sim, right? It's a remake. And I had played this game in the past, the original, on GameCube. When I was a kid, I used to go over to my friend's house and she had a GameCube, so I got to play on hers. And I remember like I was obsessed with this game as a kid, and I was so in love with Nami, like the cool tomboy girl. I wanted to be her, I wanted to marry her. So I had to play this remake because I simply had to. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel compelled to complete it. So I finished year 1. I think that was around like 20-ish hours. So I played the whole first year, had a really nice time, but I did start to feel like things got a little bit too slow. Like a little bit too, like, I don't really feel like I have any purpose or anything I really need to be doing. The characters, they're cute, but they don't feel as, like, when I was a kid, I felt like they were real people and I was like so compelled by them. But as an adult, I feel like I've just played games with better written characters, and I forget who I married, but I think I actually married Gordy because he's, you know, like an artist, and I was like, that's cool, good for you. I do like in that game that you get to see the town progress throughout the years. When you play multiple years, like, you're aging, and the fact that other characters age too makes it very interesting, potentially. But I just feel like these characters aren't compelling enough for me to really care that much in order to like play through more years of the game and actually see like the whole town age and like the stories play out. I just don't care enough. So given that, I will say Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life is gonna go, yeah, I'm kind of wondering where it goes along here. Coral Island, like I said, I'm basing this on my experience last year, even though I really want to give it another chance. I feel like it would go ahead of Coral Island because I played a significant chunk of the game and I enjoyed my time with it. I just didn't want to play anymore. Now, WarioWare Move It, I don't have too much to say. I played this game with family at several different intervals when I saw family last year, with different family members and with my partner. It was a lot of fun, but it's really janky. So I feel like this game uses a lot of motion controls, and I simply do not feel like the motion controls with the Joy-Cons they just don't feel as smooth and as effective as with the Wii controllers. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm letting nostalgia cloud my judgment, but I genuinely just feel like the Joy-Cons, it feels really messy. It doesn't feel Like it's are always sensing exactly what I'm doing correctly, and sometimes calibrating the controllers and getting it to actually lock in so you can even play the game would take a long time. Like sometimes before a minigame it would be like, assume this position, and it would wait till you got into the position, but like me or one of my family members simply would not be able to do it, and we'd get frustrated and just like call it quits and like play something else like Smash instead. So yeah, it's a fun, wacky game, and I love it. I love the principle of it, but I feel like the execution is a little off. Some of the minigames are hilarious, like they're so truly just capital R random sometimes, and I feel like it's very entertaining to just see what minigame you're gonna get next. So WarioWare Move It, it's good. It's good, but it's not great. So it's definitely going in a B tier. That said, it gave me some very fun memories with family. I think I'll put it here. Before Coral Island, but after A Wonderful Life. Detroit Become Human is a game that I'm playing through with friends, and we actually haven't finished it yet, but I think we played a good chunk of this game. And you play through 3 characters. It's a narrative driven game, and you make a bunch of choices and you see how your choices play out. And I like that at the end of each scene you play in this game, it shows you like the branching like decision tree, so you can see how things could have gone differently, and you can also see how many people played the same way as you, which I just love seeing stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow, like only 5% of people have made this choice. I feel so special, you know? Or like seeing that 99% of people made the same choice as you because the opposite choice is like too upsetting and horrible, and like that kind of makes me feel better about the human race. So of course, like it's fine to do horrible things in a video game, you know, it's all role playing, but you know what I mean. I will say this game, the horrible things in this game are pretty bad. You should definitely read the content warnings and trigger warnings for this game before you play it. There is some stuff that is very intense. I do think that this game, I have to remember that it is like an older game. It came out in 2018, so you know, it's aged really well in the sense that it still looks great. Like it looks really cinematic, really incredible. The way the scenes are, like the camera follows you around and the way action sequences go, like it feels really cool to play. As for what I've played for now, I think the game is definitely, I think it's an A tier game. But I think it would be low on the A tier because I am really enjoying it, and I feel like it's just the kind of game I love. Like I love cinematic storytelling focused games. I love a narrative game where choices matter, and I feel like this is excellent at that. It's also really fun to play through with a group of people because you can like debate about your choices, and like you can be like, no, don't do that, and then your friend does the thing and you're like, oh my god. So yeah, I definitely am enjoying the game a whole lot. Okay, so Fields of Mistria is incredible. It's an early access game, I know. I played it late last year. I played it soon after early access dropped for it, and I remember I've been waiting and waiting because I think it came out earlier in the week, and I was moving that week, and I was like waiting and waiting for us to be done with moving and just done with all the life admin stuff I had to do that week so that I could play this game and really tuck into it. And it just felt like such like the best reward after like such a frantic week. And I love everything about this game, honestly. I love the art, I love the characters, I love the music, I love the writing. I honestly can't think of a single thing of what I played, and I played like 10 hours. I can't think of anything that I would change. Like I just want more of it, and the only reason why I stopped, the only reason is because I didn't want to hit the end. And I knew it was an early access game, and I usually do not play things early access. Like even if I buy something early access to support the developer, I usually always wait till full release before I even touch it. So this was like a major exception for me because I couldn't help myself because I heard what people were saying and I was like, I have to play the game. Yeah, I think the thing I love the most is just the way progression feels so satisfying. Like you'd go to the inn every week, like on Friday, I believe, and there would be like a new little scenario playing out. And like the way characters would comment on different things, like it just felt like the town felt really like alive, and I love that. It reminds me of Rune Factory 4, which is another game that I feel like really does that well in how the characters are so like reactive to you, and it feels like you're really living in this town, and I love that so much. So Fields of Mistria, you know, it has to go in S tier. I cannot wait to play the full version of that game this year. I absolutely cannot wait. Next, we have another game that I played on 3DS, and this is Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. It's a platformer game, and I am not usually a platforming kind of person, I will say, especially not a 2D platforming kind of person. However, I think this game is really cute. That's why I wanted to try it. I just wanted to try it because it looked cute. I love the art style. so much. Everything looks like it's made out of yarn and fabric. It's just like, if you're a crochet girly, like just for the aesthetic alone, I would give this game a shot. So I have been enjoying kind of just picking the game up, playing a few levels, and then putting it down again so I can like play it in short sessions, and that way I don't get too like stressed out by the platforming. But honestly, it's not too difficult. I do think it's like pretty easy. I think it's only more difficult if you're trying to go for like the harder achievements and whatnot that you can unlock. You can also unlock little pieces of, I forget, like furniture and stuff, and you could like decorate a little house for Kirby, I believe. It's not that deep, but I still think it's really cute that this game has that. So I haven't finished this game. I honestly don't know if I ever will finish this game, but I'll probably continue to dip back into it whenever I feel like it. But I would say if you at all enjoy platforming games and these aesthetics look appealing to you, I think this is like it's like a very fun, chill game to play. I might just be really bad at platformers, I don't know. But like whenever I play like 2D Mario games, I do struggle a bit. But this one felt a lot easier to me and therefore more fun and chill. So Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, I'm gonna put it in, sorry, I know this V is getting so long, but I will say it goes in here, and I think it goes, I think it goes at the end, even though I feel like I said some nice things about it. In the end, it's just not my genre. Like, it's just not the type of game I would usually play, and as much as I am like, yeah, it's nice, it's not ever gonna be my favorite. And I feel like Tamagotchi Corner Shop, even though it's so simplistic, I ended up playing a lot more just because it's more my vibe. Like, it's just a casual brain off game, and I feel like I occasionally need one of those. So Stray, I feel like, is a game I've mentioned a couple of times in past videos and said like, oh, I'm not done with it yet, but I'm so close to being done. Y'all, I still haven't finished it. And it's not my fault, okay? I'm playing through it with my partner, and we have to like find a time to play it together. And we are playing games together. We actually play games every Monday together now, like without fail. Like, we have like a game night, but we've just been playing other stuff. And I will say, okay, so I'll start with the good stuff. I absolutely adore this game. There's so much to love about it. The exploration, incredible. The way they made it feel to control a cat is just, it's so good. It feels so realistic. I can't speak to the realism because I'm not a cat, but like, it feels very realistic. The cat, like the way it's animated, is so beautiful, so fluid. There's lots of cute little interactions between the cat and like the world, or the cat and like other NPCs you meet, which I think is cute. I really love talking to the robots and like finding out more about the world and why it is the way it is. I love the cyberpunk setting. I'm obsessed with it. And like putting a cute little cat in a cyberpunk setting, it just feels so cozy yet industrial, and I absolutely adore it. The only thing, and I think this is the reason I haven't finished it yet and why my partner and I keep like putting it off, is that there are some sections in this game that are legit difficult and stressful. There are times when I've been playing through a section and I've just handed over the controller to my partner because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, whether it's like a stealth section or like a timer section where it's like you have to stay alive till something happens. And there's just a few too many of those where I just kind of kills the vibe, because like, I really wish they'd just let me play the game and like turn those sections off and just like continue wandering the world at peace. Because for me, the best part of this game by far is the exploration and like walking around, seeing all the details in the world, because the world is so detailed. It's so beautiful. So that said, I'm gonna put Stray in, oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. I'm like, is it a low S or a high A? I think I'm gonna put it top of the A tier. It's a great game, but I feel like it can't be an S for me simply because of what I said with the stressful sections. Like, for me personally, the fact that the game has that and then there's no way for me to make those sections easier, as far as I'm aware, just makes it a little bit less for me. Now, you know I have got to talk about Infinity Nikki. I love this game. I love it so much. Speaking of exploration, love exploring in this game. It is the game I have always wanted and dreamed of. It is Breath of the Wild-esque in the way you can explore and how beautiful the world is to explore. But the combat is so easy, at least like in the areas I've been so far, that you can just chill out, okay? Like, if an enemy jumps out, you just like bop a orb over, get rid of them, and you're on your way, you know? It's just so relaxing. Sometimes I log onto the game and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do these quests and I'm gonna save up these diamonds so I can get this blah blah blah, but I just end up running around and staring at things and taking pictures. Like, I don't get anything done, and I think that's fantastic that the game makes me want to do that. I have never taken so many screenshots in a game before, ever. Like, I'm usually not the person to use photo mode very often in a game, even if it has it, but I'm using photo mode every time I log onto Infinity Nikki. Basically, every time I put on a new outfit, I'm like, let me go take a cute picture in this outfit, right? Let me commemorate it. Momo is an adorable sidekick, maybe one of the best sidekicks in a game. The music is also really pretty. There are times when I just like notice the music and I'm like, this is so beautiful. Literally, the only thing I can say against this game is that it's a gacha game. That is the only thing. That and I've heard other people point out, and I noticed it too, that the NPCs aren't very diverse in their skin color or anything. It's like everyone's pretty pale. So, and also just like body shape and things like that, right? Like everyone's very similar. So would definitely love to see more body and racial diversity in the characters. I like that Nikki herself can be different skin tones. I hope they add more. I just want to see more along those lines, but I have faith that they'll do that. I really hope they will. But yeah, it's really just the gacha is like for me the only like real minus that I feel like can never go away, because I doubt they're ever gonna be like, oh, we'll just like take away the gacha. I feel like this is always gonna be a gacha game, and I haven't spent any money. I am not gonna let myself spend any money on this game because I think this game it's too dangerous. Like there are other free-to-play games where I've let myself spend a little money. I'll talk about one a little later in this video, but Infinity Nikki is specifically, I feel like that game, if I spend a little money, I'm gonna keep spending more, and I just don't want to do that. So I am hard cutting myself off. I feel like maybe I'm gonna go back on this at some point and I'll be eating my words, but for now I'm like, no, I will never spend money on this game. I think the good thing is that there's still so many incredible outfits that you can get without spending any money on this game through earning the currency that you use just by questing and stuff, or just like the other outfits you could buy in game. Like there's some fun ones. I like that there's also like this vendor that you can find that sells like streetwear style, like dark black clothing that you would only find if you like wander around Flora Wish at night. Like there's just like little details like that that make me excited, because I'm like, what other secret clothing sellers are wandering around the world and where can I find them and what kind of clothes will they sell? So I don't want to go on about Infinity Nikki too long because I could probably just talk about it all the time. I'm gonna put it in S tier and it's gonna go all the way at the top. Disney Dreamlight Valley is a game that I had played a little bit before 2024, but I only really gave it a real chance last year. And when I played it before, it was on Switch, and I played a little, but I remember just kind of falling off it pretty fast. But last year, I wasn't planning on this, but towards the end of the year, they were releasing this DLC, right? And there was all this hype about it. And I kept hearing people talk about it and hyping it up, and then it released and people were like, wow, we love this, and I couldn't help myself. I got influenced. And so I repurchased the game on Steam Deck, and I bought the DLCs, both the DLCs. Y'all, it's so much money. This game is too expensive. The fact that it's a game where you can pay to buy things, like it has monetization in it, but you also have to buy it in the first place, and you have to buy every DLC, wild, and I hate it. Okay, I will never pretend that that's okay with me. I do not like it. I think it's too much money. I think they're being really greedy. However, I've been having fun with the game. I put in a lot of hours just over December alone. And, you know, that's surprising because I had Infinity Nikki to play too, but I was still like dipping back into DDV. And I think that's just because sometimes I'm just in the mood to like have some, you know, comfort food. I feel like this game feels like comfort food to me just because it is like a very familiar like world and very familiar characters. So yeah, I don't know. I can't really say what it is. I think it's like a solid comfort farm sim for me at this point, or life sim, I should say. It's not just a farming sim, but yeah. I also really like the puzzles they added in the DLC. They have these like sliding puzzles or tile puzzles, and I found those fun to do. I actually really enjoy those. So yeah, I don't know. It's fun. So I would say DDV is, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna put it at the end of the A tier because I feel like it is like, I like it a little more than everything I've put down here, but I don't think it belongs any higher than that. Next, I want to talk about Garden Paws, which is a game that I actually forgot I played last year. I think last year just felt super long to me, and this is a game I played pretty early last year. This is a lovely, lovely little brain off game. Right? It's a life sim. You can do everything in it. I felt very drawn to it just because of you can be a cute animal and you can run around with other cute animals, and just it's very sandboxy, very open. Like you can really just do whatever you want. You can decorate, you can farm, you can fish, you can fight even, though I didn't really do any of that when I played. You can do quests. They're very simplistic quests, like just simple fetch quests. The characters don't really have much of a personality, honestly, or nothing that stood out to me. Like, it's not very deep. I feel like this game is like, I just used the term comfort food for DDV. I feel like this is also like a comfort food kind of game, where it's like, it's just like got all the elements you need in a life sim, and it's wrapped in this like cute package, and like it's not like the most graphically impressive game, you know, like it can look a little clunky, that you can look a little rough around the edges, but I feel like that has its own charm to it for me. Like, I think the development team for this game is really small, and I think it's impressive what they've made, and it's just a comforting game. Like, I remember logging onto it and just like zoning out, chilling out. This is also a great podcast game, great audiobook game. Like, have some background noise on, play the game. It's really great for that. I feel like I'll probably try dipping into it again. Like, I don't feel like I'm fully done with it, but I feel like felt done with it last year when I put it down after many hours in it. I'm gonna say, ooh, this is tricky. I feel like it's behind Cat Cafe Manager, maybe behind Sonic Frontiers, and maybe behind here too. I feel like it's here. I feel like it's in the middle of B tier. I like it. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. Okay, Sunhaven is a game that I think I actually tried playing it after I played Coral Island and like bounced off Coral Island, and I was like, oh, but I really want to play a farming sim that just grabs me right now. And so I tried playing Sunhaven instead, because I also had that sitting in my library for a little bit without playing. Actually, I had tried playing it before for like a few hours at a time. I would put it down again. I think I did that twice before last year when I picked it up again. I love the art in this game. I think that's what kept drawing me to it. Like, I love the pixel art. I love the fantasy setting. I love that it's a big, fun, exciting world with lots of characters to meet. But I don't know, like, I was just starting to get into it. Like, I was like going on dates with some characters, and I got really annoyed because I missed a date with a character, okay? And like, there's no way to re-trigger the date. And this is just a pet peeve of mine, but like, I really hate it when games like punish you for just forgetting, because it's like, this game isn't my life. Like, I have a life, and I might like log off the game one day and forget that I have a date scheduled for the next day in game, and then log into the game the next day and like just forget about the date, right? Like, that happened to me, and it just made me mad because I had no way to like see the scene, and I tried looking up the scene online and I could not find it. Like, with the specific character that I was looking for, I couldn't find it, and it kind of just killed the vibe for me, because I think the big draw of this game for me was that there was a big cast of characters to date. Like, I love that, but knowing that I'd have to be like really stressed out and make sure I don't miss any of the dates I planned just made me feel a little bit like, There is also this controversy with Sunhaven right now, like, that's been coming out that you should know. I think Mriz, amazing creator, made a video about it. You can go check it out if you want to hear more. I won't go too much into detail about it, but I will say that given what I've heard about the controversy and just the way the company seems to treat its employees and treat its translators and stuff, volunteer translators, I believe, just hearing the kind of mistreatment that's going on there and the kind of like iffy choices that they're making makes me less happy to support this game. Before I'd heard about this, I was still kind of like feeling like, I'm kind of don't know if I can really get into Sunhaven, like maybe I just need to give up, but I still want to keep trying. But after hearing about all that news, I'm like, maybe I just won't try. Maybe I'll just use that time to play something else and like support, I don't know, support something that I can feel more good about supporting, I guess. So I'm gonna put Sunhaven in. I didn't dislike it, did I? I mean, I did kind of dislike what happened. You know what? I'll put it in C. I'll put it in C. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things to love about the game, and like I said, like, I wanted to love it, but I do feel like I came away disappointed even before I heard about the context of the studio, like just the game itself. I just feel like it did in different ways disappoint me. Also, people have talked about the character portraits bothering them and stuff like that. Like, I can see that as well. And there are just some things in the game that feel weirdly clunky that I feel like at this time when the game's been out this long, like I would expect that to be more polished, and like I would feel like they should prioritize polishing that kind of stuff instead of, you know, launching the Switch with like a hugely buggy Switch port and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I know that didn't affect me personally because I was playing on Steam Deck, but I look at that and I'm like upset for fellow people in my community who like are upset and have been wanting to play the game and still can't play it. I don't know what the status is with the Switch port now, if it's been fixed, but that was also another thing that happened with Sunhaven. I am ranking the C not just because of the game itself, but also because of the stuff surrounding it, because that does affect how I perceive the game ultimately, right? And I do feel like that makes me want to put it in C, so Yeah. WitchSpring R is a game that I absolutely adored. Like, it's an RPG. You play as this little witch. The writing is very fun and at times very affecting. I think what took me by surprise with this game is that even though it's very light and fluffy and cute, there are parts of the story that get really dark and really sad, and I actually cried at different points in the story because it just really got to me. I think because the main character is such a, you know, spirited, happy, go lucky kind of girl, when she does get upset, it really got to me and it really made me feel things for her and what she was going through. I really love the world. It's just very whimsical and like there's interesting lore about witches and how they exist in that world and like deities and how that all works. I like the different characters that kind of come into play. I will say at some point, like some of the members of the cast, I feel like there were, like I was less interested in some people in the cast than others, but I love the protagonist Pieberry so much and I feel like she was the soul of the game for me. I feel like this game has some really, really great quality of life features in terms of like the combat, turn-based combat, like it just feels really smooth. You can do quick battles with enemies once you've, I think, beaten a certain amount or something, so that way you don't have to like actually go in and fight them every time just to collect materials. You can just do a quick battle, you press a button, and then you get the materials. Like I feel like there's lots of thought put into the different features in this game to make it a smooth and really polished experience. My experience with the game soured a little bit at the very end just because I had to... So what happened was there's several mini bosses, several cutscenes, and then like a final boss. I failed at the final boss. I was playing on normal mode. I was like, okay, fine. So far the game has been pretty easy, but now I have to really lock in. I actually changed it to easy mode at that point just to make sure I would beat the final boss because I didn't really want to play it again and again. I'm not about that. I just wanted to play for the story. And that was all fine. And I was like, okay, I'll just replay it, no problem. But the problem was the autosave point put me back like several fights before the final boss, not right before the final boss, which kind of surprised me. Usually I'd expect to just go straight into the final boss battle, but I was actually at like a mini boss. The second thing that surprised me was I couldn't skip any of those final cutscenes. And usually I never skip cutscenes if it's like my first time watching because I love story, but I had already watched these and it was kind of a buzzkill being forced to watch them again when I was just like excited to see the conclusion of the story and was having like these things revealed and all this like stuff building up, and I was like, all this tension's building up, and now I'm just like stuck watching these cutscenes and I just want like the release of seeing the ending. So yeah, that's the only thing that I didn't quite love about the game, but otherwise I feel like it is a beautiful RPG. I feel like this will now become my go-to recommendation for people looking for a cozy RPG because yeah, I feel like it's even more maybe cozy than like an Atelier game or something, just because I feel like it's very polished and not overwhelming like some Atelier games can be, even though I do love the Atelier games I've played. It's also just treats its characters more respectfully. There isn't like weird fan service, thank God. But yeah, WitchSpring are a beautiful, beautiful game. I think it definitely has to go in S tier. I think I will put it here though. I'll put it here behind Fields of Mistria. I'm looking at Fields of Mistria now and I'm like, should I put that higher? But I'm like, it is early access and I didn't really play a lot of it, right? But that said, I feel like from what I did play of it, is that fair? You know what? I'm gonna put it before Pentiment because I do feel like, even though I only played a little Fields of Mistria, like it's stuck with me. Like I just can't wait to go back to it. I'll put it behind Little Known Galaxy because I feel like that was just an incredible game and I played it the whole way through. We'll wait till I get to play the final full release of Fields of Mistria to see how I feel about it at that point in time. Slay the Princess is a game that I played through with some family members and with my partner over the holidays last year, and it's a really, really well-written, kind of creepy feeling narrative game. So it's like a choice-driven game. You can make lots of different choices. There's lots of different paths to unlock, and I love games like that. The art is really beautiful. So is the voice acting. Like, it's just done super, super well. And I'm actually getting a little distracted. I'm gonna move away from the trailer just because... Okay, so this game is a little bit creepy sometimes, right? And I have a really low threshold for getting creeped out, which is why I was like, I don't even want to like watch the whole trailer right now because I can't remember if there's anything that creepy in it or not. It's not like a scary, scary game, right? But I do feel like it's got creepy moments. It's got some tense feeling moments. A few parts that can feel a little bit like a jump scare, or it feels like it's gonna jump scare you and it doesn't. Like there's just a lot of tension that builds. But yeah, it's an incredible game. I feel like one of the best and most interesting story-driven games that I've played of recent times. I'm gonna put Slay the Princess. I don't think I'd put it before WitchSpring R. The thing is, Slay the Princess is a game that I wouldn't play alone because it's just a little too eerie for me. I'm glad I got to play it with other people. I think I'll have to put it in A. Like, I really appreciate how well written it is and how compelling it was to play through, but I just feel like for me, I'm gonna put it before Stray, I think. Yeah, I think that feels about right. Palia is a free-to-play game. It's like a life sim with your classic life sim stuff, like you farm, you fish, you can date people, and you can explore as well. Of that variety of games, this is definitely one that I found myself playing a lot last year and returning to and over again. Like, it kind of became like a go-to life sim for me to dip into in between other games, or if I wasn't sure what to play. And I really appreciated that about it. Talking about the free-to-playness and how Infinity Nikki, I never spent money. In Palia, I have spent money. I told myself I could spend money once I hit around 40-50 hours. And at that point, when I hit that mark, I was like, okay, I've played this game a lot and I foresee myself continuing to play it, so I will buy a pet. And I did. I don't really see myself spending any more money on the game unless I invest a huge amount more time into it, maybe when I hit 100 hours. Right now, I'm just kind of waiting for the Elder Woods, like the new location that they're releasing, to come out like later this year. I will say, like, lately I haven't felt like playing it, but I think that's just because I don't have time, because I have like Infinity Nikki to play and like other games I'm playing, like Fantasy Life, which I'll talk about here as well. But yeah, I actually really like the characters in this game a lot, like a lot. Like, more than I was expecting. I love Wrath. He is the one that I started dating first, but now I'm dating multiple people. But he is my favorite. And yeah, I think this game has some really nice like relationship mechanics and like getting to know characters over time. I'm interested in the world and the story, though I don't really know where it's gonna go. And I do feel like since there's a lot of lag between updates, like you kind of lose interest in what's happening with the story. But like, I'm interested to see where they take it. One thing I really love about this game is I feel like in Palia, farming is actually really satisfying. Like, I like the way you like hoe things, like with your hoe, like you actually have to move it across the field, and watering, like it just feels kind of satisfying. I like the little details in this game. The world feels really relaxing to run around. I love hunting in the game, even though I'm a vegetarian in real life and I wouldn't do that in real life. I feel like in the game it's just really fun to hunt because it just involves like running through the world and like creeping up on things and paying attention to the sound design. Like, the sound design is really good. So yeah, Palia, I would say, goes in. I'm struggling a little bit with this. There's too many. It's really hard to rank things, y'all. I think it comes before Dreamlight Valley. Does it come before Immortal Life? Ooh, maybe. I'm gonna put it there. That feels right. My time at Sandrock is one of my favorite games ever. Spoiler alert. It's just such an incredible life sim. You're a builder in it, so it's a little different from other games. Like, you're not a farmer, you are a crafter of things. And the way the story plays out, the way your relationships with the characters grow, the way you learn more about them, more about the town, and more about what's going on over time. Like, I feel like you really feel invested in the community of this game and the NPCs and their lives in a way that not all games do for me, but this game absolutely did. Like, I feel like I loved so many of the characters in this game. This game has some of my favorite characters in fictional media ever. The story, I think, is really fun, has some interesting twists. The only thing I can say about it is, like, it does drag out a little bit, and I feel like it feels a little bloated towards the end, and you're kind of just chugging towards the end because it's a long game. Like, it took me like 200 hours to play through, and I'm not a completionist. I just feel like I was playing at the pace I usually would, and it just took that long. But the combat is fun, the mining is fun, building up your craft, like your workshop, is fun. I feel like the progression of seeing your workshop build and your house build is just, it's so good. Yeah, this game has Unsure, which is one of my favorite characters of all time. He was the character I married in this game. If you played my time at Sandrock, let me know who you married or who your favorite NPCs are. I also love some of the non-romanceable ones. I'm forgetting the name of, oh my god, I'm forgetting his name, but there's like the redheaded guy who like keeps on talking and won't stop talking. He's one of my favorite like gag characters ever. I think he's so funny. But my time at Sandrock definitely goes S tier, and it definitely goes right at the top. Even before Infinity Nikki, this game has my heart. It's one of my favorite games of all time now. Okay, now I want to talk about Fantasy Life, which I mentioned I'm still currently playing, but I started playing it last year. I'm talking about the first Fantasy Life here. So this is the one on 3DS. The new one that you might have heard everyone talking about is the sequel, and that isn't released yet, but we're all hoping it'll release later this year as planned. But the first one, I've been playing on 3DS, and it's just been so fun. So last year when I started playing, I kind of tried every single life in the game, because in this game you get to choose what you do. You could be like a woodcutter, you could be an alchemist, you can be a tailor. I started every single life and I just like kind of tried each one out to figure out like what my vibe was. And I think I'm kind of figuring out the lives that I'm drawn to. I actually realized for combat, surprisingly, I think my favorite is Hunter. Actually, it's not that surprising. I feel like I was a Hunter in World of Warcraft too, but I thought I would want to be a wizard or something, but Hunter was my favorite. And of the crafter type classes, I feel like they're all kind of fun to play. And I will say like alchemist, chef, and I'm trying to think of the other ones, tailor, those types of lives, they are pretty similar. Like the mechanics of making things are actually the same, but I feel like the mini games are fun and the kind of stories and challenges that go along with each one are still different enough that those lives feel differentiated. And then there's the kind of like collecting, gathering classes like woodcutting and fishing, which are just like crucial things that you can do at any time, even if you're not playing as that life. I don't know if this is making sense if you haven't played Fantasy Life before, but there's this whole life system and you can switch between them, whatever. It's a really fun game. I feel like it just feels like I'm on such like a warm fantasy adventure. Like it feels very like storybooky. I really like that the writing is very lighthearted and tongue-in-cheek, very quirky, lots of puns, lots of jokes. Like the game doesn't take itself too seriously, and I find that really fun. I like the tone of the game. I find myself actually reading all the dialogue and stuff because one, I usually always read dialogue, even if it's bad. I just feel compelled to read it. But I enjoy reading the dialogue in this game and look forward to reading all the dialogue because I know it's going to be good. And I just feel like there's always something to do here. There's so many different challenges associated with whatever life you choose to play. And if you get bored of one life, you can just switch to another one. So it just feels like it's so rich with things to do, but not overwhelming because you can always just like run around and fish if you want, and that's fine, or just like explore and like fight things. So Fantasy Life I'm certainly not done with. I think I've played for 30-ish hours at this point and I'm loving it, and I intend to continue playing it this year too. But I think so far I would put it in S tier for sure, but I'm trying to think of where it would go. You know what? My gut is telling me here for now. I'm thinking, yeah, and it might go higher after I finish it, but I think for now that's how I'm feeling about it. But yeah, I guess you'll notice like I really loved a lot of the games that I played last year. Like there's so many S tier games here. There's a good amount of A, so like ones that I loved and was obsessed with, ones that I thought were really great too, and ones that I still liked even if I don't think I would really go back to them or I just thought they were all right. Like these were all still very solid and like for a time served a good purpose in my life. Yeah, there's really only one game that I felt like a little bit of a dislike to, and I feel like that's a pretty good year. Let me know if you have thoughts about any of the games that I talked about or what your list looks like. Like I would love to know what your top 3 or bottom 3 games were from last year. If you would like to share, feel free to comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!